The rain fell hard that morning, the kind that soaks through your uniform before you can even salute. The parade ground at the academy was slick and shining, reflecting the gray sky like a mirror of discipline. The cadets stood in formation, fresh, loud, proud, and in the middle of them walked a woman no one expected. Her boots struck the wet ground with a rhythm too precise to be accidental, too confident to belong to someone out of place. But to the young men standing in their crisp uniforms, she did seem out of place. She wasn't tall, her frame wasn't broad, and her uniform, though spotless, didn't carry the same ceremonial shine as theirs. When she stopped before them and adjusted her stance, the whispers began. A few chuckled. One even smirked openly, **. Her name was Major Sara Malik, though the Redded apart never fit her well. Even after leaving active duty, she carried herself like she was still on the battlefield. But today was different. Today, she had returned to the academy as a guest instructor, called in for a brief tactical training session for the new cadets. What she didn't know, what she didn't care to know, was how much her presence would test not her skills, but her patience and pride. When she began to speak, her voice was steady, calm, deliberate. Every word came from experience carved into her bones. She talked about endurance, about discipline, about the kind of courage that doesn't come from medals, but from pain and loss. The cadets listened, but not all respected her. Some exchanged glances. Others suppressed laughter when she demonstrated a combat stance, her knees bent slightly, hands steady, posture balanced. To them, she looked too soft, a woman teaching soldiers how to fight. A joke, they thought. One of the younger cadets whispered something under his breath, something about how warfare was no place for emotions. It spread like wildfire. Soon, the back row was barely hiding their amusement. Sarah noticed, of course. She'd seen that expression before, the smugness of inexperience, the arrogance of the untested. Once, she might have barked orders until their pride shattered. But now, she simply straightened up and let the silence stretch. Her calm unsettled them more than anger ever could. That's when the door behind them opened, and Major General Remen, a legend in the academy, stepped in. His arrival was silent, but commanding the kind of presence that made even the wind hesitate. The laughter died instantly. The cadets snapped to attention. Remen's eyes, sharp as a blade, moved across the line of young faces before settling on Sarah. And then, in a voice that carried across the field, he said words that would burn into their memory forever. She trained the men who trained you. The ground seemed to still beneath them. The cadets froze. The smirks disappeared. Remen walked closer, his boots echoing in the stunned silence. He didn't raise his voice, but every syllable struck like thunder. Before any of you learned how to hold a rifle, before your instructors learned how to survive the battlefield, she was out there. While you were learning to march, she was saving lives on the border. You think strength is muscle? You think courage is loud? Let me tell you, something strength is waking up every day after watching your brothers fall and still saluting the flag. She's done that. You haven't. The cadets stared at her differently now, as if seeing her for the first time. The rain seemed to fall quieter. Sarah didn't move. Her expression didn't change. But behind her calm eyes, memories rushed in like waves. Years ago. She had been one of the mock cadet, smaller than most, determined to prove she belonged. The early days had been brutal. The instructors were tough, but the real battles were the looks, the doubts, the whispers. She won't last a week. But she did. Every blister, every bruise, every sleepless night became a reason to stay. When others fell out, she held on. And when her unit finally saw combat during the border conflicts, she didn't hide behind anyone. She led from the front. Asterisk, there was a night she never forgot, the night she lost her closest friend. Captain Adil, in an ambush. She remembered his last words, "Keep leading." Sara, don't ever let them forget what you stood for. She hadn't, even after the bullet wounds healed and the medals gathered dust. She kept training soldiers, shaping minds, and building warriors, not just in body, but in spirit. Asterisk, standing on that parade ground years later, watching those young cadets bow their heads in silent respect, she felt a strange mixture of pain and pride. She didn't want their pity. She wanted them to understand that true warriors fight battles no one sees. The wars inside the doubts, the losses, the moments when everything feels too heavy, those are the real tests of strength. Asterisk. Major General Riemann turned back to the cadets. Remember this moment, he said. Someday, when you're in the field and you're scared, when you think you've reached your limit, remember her. Remember that the woman you mocked has faced what you haven't even imagined, and she never broke. Asterisk, for the rest of that day, no one dared whisper. They listened, truly listened, to Sara spoke again. This time, not just about tactics, but about purpose. She taught them how to think beyond orders, how to trust their instincts, how to stand even when the world falls apart. And when she demonstrated her stance again, the same one they had mocked, the cadets followed her lead with silent precision. Asterisk, by the end of the session, the rain had stopped. The sun broke through the clouds, casting golden light across the field. Sara looked out at the faces before her, not mocking now, but grateful. She didn't smile, but inside, she felt the warmth of something she hadn't felt in years. Peace. Asterisk, as she walked away from the parade ground, she heard the sound of boots striking in perfect rhythm behind her. The cadets had formed up, saluting her in silence. No orders were given. No words were needed. It was respect earned, not demanded. Asterisk, and for the first time in a long time, Sara allowed herself to breathe deeply and whisper to herself, "Adil, I kept leading." Asterisk, if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the unseen battles fought by those who serve with courage and humility, please take a moment to show your love. Like this video, share it, and let others hear the story of real strength and silent sacrifice. Asterisk. Comment below. What does true courage mean to you?